Looks like we're live. Testing. Testing. All right. Everything seems to be working properly this time. That's great. How are you doing? It's that time of day again. And guess what? I'm taking part in a game jam. It started 3 days ago and it's going for a further week and a half. So yeah, Pirate Software, I think I talked about this last time. It's a streamer and he has like 100,000 people over on his Discord server, which is pretty comprehensive. I mean, if we take a look at this, he has like just a ton of stuff. There's even a channel for entomology. I mean, how good is that? I'm just keeping to the jam quarters here, but it's pretty nice to be hanging out in a community doing a game jam. It's just everyone sharing their games. It's amazing. Have my own Discord server. There isn't much going on, but it's ready. Whenever you're ready. Yep. I have a second server, by the way, for science fiction writing, and I'm proud to say it's basically the single only science fiction writing Discord server. I've been running this for years. If you're into science fiction, reach out and join the community. So yeah, there's that. The game jam is 2 weeks long, so that's plenty of time to make a game. I mean, even if you're a few days late, I think you can still participate and make something, even on the weekend. It's pretty well put together, I have to say. And the theme is only one theme that I'm not following, except that Dark Mage said you do it in only one file, and yeah, well, you'll see what happened later on. Made a page for the game, right? I'm keeping the devlogs updated. If you want to check it out, it's pretty short. That's all on itch.io. Yeah, need to put a picture here. Still in the terminal, so, and a roguelike, so I'm not really out of my lane here. Anyways, how are you doing? I hope you're chilling. I've been up since 5. Spent most of the day making the game. I'll show you later. I thought it would be interesting, since we're working with terminfo, to have a look around the ncurses library. You can get the source online, and that's what it looks like. Not sure what to check out first. I've looked into one of these files, and it's still gibberish to me. Still can improve my C. Apparently you can always improve your C. Let's check out color. Color is important, right? So apparently there is a private curses header. That makes sense. I don't know if I can't find it in the includes. Curses. No. No, where is it? It's already happened to me while I was checking out this code real fast before the stream, that there are files that I can't find. There are functions that I can't find, like I don't know if I'm doing something wrong or what, but that's through trying and checking out this stuff that we're going to get better, right? If anyone's there, tell me if you can hear me properly. Sorry about my accent. It's still a bit off, but it'll get better. So we can find some actual code. Max palette. I didn't even know they had palettes in curses. So that's the default palette. And there's also no, that's the same. I thought it was white, yellow, cyan, and magenta, but no, it's the same, redefined. No clue what that data means. I think sometimes I use too much macros, but they really use it shamelessly in these old programs. I say old, but I checked out the news file. Where am I? and it looks like it's been last updated like not even a week ago. Can you believe that? It seems to be very actively maintained. That's all from the beginning of the year. Like that's a lot. They updated it like 3 days before Christmas and 3 days afterwards, and 4 days after the New Year. That's crazy. No wonder their code is so precise and refined. It's been worked on so much. We have a function here. It makes little sense, right? I don't know if you can tell what it does. What that's supposed to be. So they're making functions inside of a preprocessor loop. Otherwise, it's declared as macros. I, I don't know what's the use of so much detail. Like if it's just in order to handle every possible terminal, or if that actually makes sense on its own. Like that's what even is that? It doesn't explain it to me. So yeah, it's basically being totally perplexed at their C code. If you're that good of a C programmer, definitely hit me up, but maybe one day I'll get there. These function names are pretty self-explanatory though. And I didn't know, but apparently there is a trace of everything that ncurses does. I don't know, maybe it can be enabled or disabled for tests. It would be interesting if I can check if I can get this trace somehow. Might be interesting. Perhaps it will help me understand how ncurses work better than trying to read these, because I would be able to see all the steps, you know. The color table. It initializes, because I think colors is like 12,000 and something, and they all initialize them to that would be white, I think. Never tried using or did I, a color that I hadn't previously said. Maybe just makes it white. Maybe you don't see the difference. Check the chat. Nothing going on, but I'm going to talk to myself. Sorry. Hello, hi. Well, if no one's watching, there's no reason to not to keep going with this. Maybe I can make something out of it. Direct colors. The limit on colors isn't even driven by its type, apparently. I don't know if there are types for defines, or you can set an arbitrarily large define constant. I'll check it out later, let you know if I find anything. Hey, there is ti getstr. That's one of the function we've used in hello world with terminfo. Ti stands for terminfo, of course. And here, what is name? Name user cap RGB. I have no idea what that is, but apparently it's a term cap string. Huh. And so it's nice how they did that here. It's like when I do it, it just looks random, but here it's pretty space efficient and easy to read. Hmm. And they even check the same variable here. If it is a null and if it's a valid string. Interesting. Fall through? Oh yeah. Can't fathom how this works. Like, Oh yeah, it's making a switch on the scanf result. What is endo? Here I get flag. Don't know this one. It's probably important. How long have I been going about this? Because I want to show you my game jam game and maybe program a little bit. That would be nice, right? Let's go a little bit further. You would think reset color pair would be a simple function, and yet I can't tell what's going on here. It's maybe the color scheme, like I don't know. Why it looks so. This is the Elf Lord default color scheme. Uh, it's not the same as the one I use. But why would it be different? Well, anyway, actually we do both more to accommodate badly written terminal descriptions than the relatively rare case where someone has changed the color definitions. So they are putting a lot of effort into supporting any kind of terminal apparently. I don't know if that's really a thing or if it's just the developers trying it out on any kind of terminal just for the sake of it or something. I don't know. Maybe when you're a C genius, this would be fun. Yeah. Alright. I think that's enough. I don't know how much longer this file is. Let's check it out. I think I checked the file for the add char routine. Familiar input function of ncurses, and the file was super long. It wasn't nearly as long as this one. 1166 lines. When you think that, and it's the same for nethack source code, when you think that all these files are 1000 lines long, it's just pretty crazy. Alright, is the stream still going? Would seem so. Let's check out my game. It's not much of a game yet. So there is only one file. And it's 227 lines. I wrote most of these today. Let's run it. Hopefully it doesn't fail and bring shame on me. Only 2 rooms. So basically, right now, we're generating random rooms. There are several levels, but I have no way to tell. And you're locked in a room. That's Like pretty interesting gameplay, right? Sometimes it doesn't work. There are still some bugs, like for example the overlapping of the two rooms to the right of the dungeon. It's off. Um, I spent, I think, I spent literally hours trying to figure out the overlapping of the windows. There were so many exceptions. Like, I really struggled to get it to this point. Still a couple bugs left with it. I feel like luck is not on my side because how often do you get that kind of thing? So far, uh, I haven't tried very hard to debug this one, but I tried to look into it a little bit and I couldn't figure out why this is not working. There are a little bit of quirky behavior um, from the way I use terminfo. It's not as streamlined as it would be in ncurses. There are some inconsistencies, but we're working on it. So that's what we have so far, and mostly I've implemented this today. I started at like 5:30 in the morning with the hello world, and so that's where we at. Yeah, on to the coding. Let's go through the file real quick. So have a bunch of define that are basically parameters for the dungeon, so I can change the shape of the dungeon pretty easily. That's the prototype of all the functions. Notice the fancy names. Basically everything prefixed with blood has to do with terminfo, and wine is the rest. And this is a utility that is used by these functions. Maybe I should set it to blood too. Well, it doesn't really matter. Also add to handle, of course, variable argument list. Everything is a global variable because this is a game jam and I don't want to bother passing structures around. In fact, it bothers me so much that I've made everything components. So there's a number of rooms and a number of levels, and then there's an array of character arrays. Sorry. And I use int everywhere because I've read that processors are optimized for processing int, so there is no reason why I would use char instead of int. Should be like the go-to type anyway. So an array of character arrays, and then the height, width, and position are all in separate arrays, as well as the level of the rooms. So in order to access this, you would just need to do something with like the number of the room here, and that's how you access it. Could simplify this like this, but that's what I went for today. Maybe tomorrow I'll hate everything and just redo it. Yeah, I put comments everywhere because I was like relieved when I got the room overlapping working and I just cleaned the code with it. It's not so bad that way you can look at it without having a heart attack. Uh, Pretty simple main. We call both init for the terminfo and for our structures. That's where the dungeon is generated. User input. So this is the wine part with all the dungeon generation, making rooms, random rooms, and this is the check for the room overlapping. So it's still missing a few cases, but can you tell this was difficult to get by? It just drove me insane. Displaying player movement, and here is the whole terminfo part with the init, the end, and then here is our special function that calls ti parm to talk to the terminal, and then these very simple functions that just look much better than using the actual function. So that's how the main is so easy to read, I feel. If it was like a bunch of terminfo shit here, it wouldn't be the same, right? I want to have fun with this project. So, what do we do? Give me an exciting one. Not that kind of exciting. It's generating, I think, 20 room over 5 levels. So, and I had different ideas for how to generate each level, because at first I thought, well, this is like the vampire hive, right? So that's the story of the game. You get into the vampire hive and you either got to recover the blood of the Christ or defeat Dracula. I'm not sure which one, maybe both in the future. So you get into the vampire hive, and I thought either it would be like a mansion, but I think it's less interesting than if it's underground. So there would be like some caves and then some basements, some prison maybe, like layers of different kinds of level, and at the very bottom you get into the vampire hideout with like gothic decor, which is also why I'm using ints for characters. That way I'll be able to implement white shards, and maybe we can get some exciting design going on here. But that's not what I implemented. I went for an attack-like feeling. I thought, why not just try different methods? I generated the rooms apart, but I could also generate them in so that they're all next to one another, much like a mansion would be. Or I can make corridors, or I can make special levels and also type like levels. And yeah, there's like, I don't know if you can see it, there's a flickering going on here while it displays. So that means it refreshes the screen after drawing each room. Huh. Well, that doesn't really cause any performance issue. And if the room weren't on top of each other, there wouldn't be any glitch. But yeah. So I'm going to try to implement corridors. Maybe we can do this. Well, maybe it would be really boring. I don't know. Is the stream still on? Yes, we are still on. So that would take place at the dungeon generation, right? So we have our function that creates the rooms. And it would make sense to have a function to make corridors. Let's actually loop. Well, alright. Okay. So I'm going to have this underneath of the room business here. Is it the first time that I'm programming on stream? I'm not sure. So how do we do that? It's probably a headache too. I guess you would have to figure out which room faces which, and for example, here we could easily add a corridor between this room and the one to the right, and onto the far right. No politics involved. I don't want to make a graph. Figure out the shortest path between nodes in a graph, and don't really want to bother. I prefer it to be more incremental. Yeah, I would need to think on this a bit more. There's also something we can do would be to add enemies, right? And I don't know how I would go about not having a mob structure, because enemies are going to have weapons, armor, all that kind of stuff. And if I do it all in arrays, I'm not sure how that would work out. Maybe I should do it just to see how it plays out. But so I would need to think on this as well. Right now the player is just a bunch of global variables. Wonder if I can't just use the same kind of variables except in an array. Yeah. And one thing I wanted to do is to keep the dungeon as a bunch of rooms. I don't want, I don't know, because in a roguelike, the rooms are all that matter, right? What enemies are in the room you're in, and all that. I feel there is a lot of emphasis in terms of human attention when you play a roguelike that is placed on the rooms. So I wanted to make the best of it because I'm not going to do something so trying on my actual roguelike project. So that's good for experimenting. So basically, I just went for everything that passed through my head on this project. So it's so great and refreshing to be working on a game jam. I feel like I haven't participated in a game jam in a while. Maybe not since last year. Well, anyway. So we're going to be wanting to spawn those mobs. Like after we create the corridors. I'm going to have a lot of things to do tomorrow. So naturally, I forget the name of the variables. Mob level. We're going to want to allocate all these. I'm just going to define a number of mobs. And let's set it to 20 rooms on 5 levels. Yeah, so let's have like 30 entities or something. I can always change that easily anyway. So the room basically is just an int value that you use to access all the various components. And going to also free all this. It's a habit I have to always, whenever I add something in, just add the free statements right away. That's probably a common thing. Right. And just generate random values for all this. Yeah, but we need to know what room I on, what level. Um, just going to add the prototype as well. And 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 we're going to make a function to count rooms. It would be more convenient if it returned an array of the rooms, but I'm trying to keep this as simple and straightforward as possible. I think that's the way to save yourself some headaches. Except it didn't really work for me today, but whatever. Count rooms. On level. Didn't get lost always at this point. I know my way of navigating the code is not the absolute best, but yeah. Mm, seeking to improve here. So as you can see, I'm really keeping it straightforward. If I need to move things around, then that's fine, but at least it's easy to read hopefully will be easy to maintain. Really far away from all this ncurses code that we've went through. Um, what am I trying to check out here? Is the room number? That? It's just the ID. Try to think if I can't, like, um, let's use I here. Something like this. Um, and then just give them random positions. Position relative to the room. Um, I do get these long statements. That's why I'm thinking of shortening the name of the global variables. Is the stream still on? Let's see. Seems to be on. Yeah. There we go. And then we're going to try to display them here. So this is the player. So we're just going to move for each mob. So move to that's why I don't like it. That's what I don't like about it. It's even worse with the mob variables than the room ones. And we're just going to have them be the same character as the player. So it's not working here. I'm fixing this and then we'll call it tonight, I guess. Does it run? Will it run? Okay, looks like all the vampires are having their little party in a different room. Nice. What time is it? We've been on for an hour, I think. Doesn't say us. Yes, just 1 hour. Exactly. Why are they all... I have to take screenshots. Of the random bugs that I get. And that's half of the fun at least. Oh whoa, they're all in the same room now. But I mean, they're all in the same room, right? And we have to display them only if the mob is on the right level. Just keep this commented out and going to fix the spawning. So yeah, picking a room is the difficult thing. Yeah, I don't feel like I'm going to fix this in an entertaining way right now. It's a bit messy, could use more thought. Uh, so I guess that's it for today. I got a bot in my chat. I gotta screenshot that too. It's like it has a little icon on it that says this is the first chat ever, and it's a spam bot. How fun. Hello spam bot. How are you doing? Yep. So check out my devlogs on my itch.io. I try to keep it concise so I wouldn't waste your time too much. Alrighty. Let me just say hi. Yeah. Alright, well, see you tomorrow. Have a great one. Bye.